The divine masculine's unique way of loving in a twin flame connection. Have you ever loved someone so deeply, yet felt like they loved you in a language you couldn't understand? They rarely say how they feel, they don't always chase. Sometimes they disappear without explanation. And yet, no matter how much time passes, something about the connection refuses to fade. If you've experienced this in a twin flame connection, you're not alone. The divine masculine's way of loving is one of the most misunderstood aspects of the entire twin flame journey. Many people mistake silence for indifference, distance for rejection, and emotional restraint for a lack of love. But what if the truth is far more profound? What if the divine masculine doesn't love less? What if they simply love differently? What if every period of silence, every moment of withdrawal, and every inner battle is revealing something about their soul that words could never fully express? In this video, we're going beyond the myths and uncovering the hidden nature of the divine masculine's love. We'll explore why they often struggle to express their emotions, why they sometimes run from the very person they love most, how they experience the twin flame connection in ways they rarely talk about, and what true divine masculine love looks like once they begin to awaken. This isn't about glorifying unhealthy behavior or assuming every difficult relationship is a twin flame connection. Real love also requires mutual respect, honest communication, and personal responsibility. So if you're ready to understand the deeper spiritual lessons behind the divine masculine's unique way of loving, stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover may completely change the way you see this extraordinary journey. Section 1. The divine masculine loves differently. Not less. Before we can understand the divine masculine's unique way of loving, we have to let go of one of the biggest misconceptions surrounding the twin flame journey: the idea that love always looks the same. Many people are taught that if someone truly loves you, they'll constantly express their feelings, send frequent messages, openly share their emotions, and always know exactly what to say. While these behaviors can certainly be part of a healthy relationship, people naturally express love in different ways. In a twin flame framework, many believe the divine masculine often communicates love through actions, inner transformation, and quiet commitment rather than frequent emotional expression. This difference creates one of the greatest misunderstandings between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. The divine feminine often feels energy deeply. Intuition guides the heart, emotions flow naturally, and love is often expressed through words, affection, and emotional openness. The divine masculine, on the other hand, is often portrayed as processing emotions internally. Rather than speaking immediately about what they're feeling, they may spend time trying to understand those feelings before expressing them. Instead of saying, "I love you," they may focus on becoming someone they believe is capable of sustaining a loving relationship. From the outside, this can look like emotional distance. But on the inside, an entirely different process may be unfolding. Imagine standing at the edge of an ocean for the very first time. The surface appears calm, but beneath it lies an entire world of powerful currents. The divine masculine's heart is often described in a similar way. On the surface, they may appear composed, logical, or even detached. Yet beneath that calm exterior can exist deep emotions that are difficult to explain, even to themselves. This is why many people misunderstand them. Silence is interpreted as rejection. Distance is mistaken for a lack of care. Emotional restraint is assumed to mean there is no love. But in many cases, the silence isn't empty. It's full of questions, full of fears, full of emotions they haven't yet learned how to express in a healthy way. Many spiritual traditions describe the divine masculine journey as one of learning vulnerability. Some people grow up believing they must always appear strong, solve every problem alone, never cry, and never reveal uncertainty. Whether or not this applies to every individual, these cultural expectations can make emotional openness feel unfamiliar. Then the twin flame connection arrives. Suddenly, every emotional wall they've spent years building begins to crack. They meet someone who seems to see beyond the masks they've carefully created, someone who recognizes not just who they appear to be, but who they truly are beneath the surface. That kind of connection can feel beautiful. It can also feel overwhelming. Because genuine intimacy asks us to be seen completely. And being fully seen can be frightening if we've spent years hiding our fears or insecurities. This is one reason why some people believe the divine masculine doesn't immediately move closer to the connection. Not because love is absent, but because the connection asks them to confront parts of themselves they've been avoiding. Old wounds, self-doubt, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. The connection becomes more than a romance, it becomes a mirror. A mirror reflects everything, including the parts we'd rather not see. In many twin flame teachings, this is considered one of the greatest purposes of the journey. Not simply finding another person, but discovering yourself through the relationship. As that mirror reveals hidden emotions, the divine masculine may turn inward. Instead of expressing everything they feel, they may focus on improving themselves. They work harder, pursue new goals, develop skills, seek financial stability, try to become stronger. From the outside, it may seem like they're choosing work over love. But internally, they may believe they're preparing themselves for the life they hope to build. Whether that belief is accurate or not, it highlights an important point. People can respond to intense emotions in different ways. This doesn't mean every withdrawal is an expression of love, and it doesn't mean someone should accept unhealthy patterns or neglect. A strong relationship still depends on communication, respect, accountability, and mutual effort. Yet understanding these inner dynamics can replace confusion with compassion. The divine masculine's path is often described as a journey from fear to trust, from control to surrender, from emotional protection to emotional honesty, from proving worth through achievements to recognizing that love doesn't have to be earned. When that transformation begins, something remarkable happens. The walls that once felt permanent begin to soften, conversations become more open, actions and words become more aligned. The need to hide gradually fades. Love is no longer something to fear. It becomes something to consciously choose. And perhaps that is the deepest lesson of this part of the twin flame journey. The divine masculine's love isn't necessarily measured by how loudly it's expressed. It's measured by the courage it takes to face inner fears, grow beyond old patterns, and learn to love with authenticity. Because true love isn't only about finding the right person. It's also about becoming the kind of person who can give and receive love freely, without fear, without masks, and without losing yourself in the process. That inner transformation, more than any grand declaration, is what many believe lies at the heart of the divine masculine's unique way of loving. Section 2. Why the divine masculine struggles to express love. One of the greatest mysteries in the twin flame journey is this: if the divine masculine feels such a powerful connection, why don't they simply say it? Why do they hesitate to express their emotions? Why do they go silent just when the connection seems to be getting stronger? These questions have left countless people searching for answers. And while every individual is different, many twin flame teachings suggest that the divine masculine's greatest battle isn't against love. It's against the fear of fully opening their heart. For many people, emotions don't come with an instruction manual. Some grow up in environments where feelings are welcomed and encouraged. Others grow up believing that showing vulnerability is dangerous. They learn to hide sadness, suppress fear, and solve every problem on their own. Over time, emotional protection becomes a habit. Instead of saying, "I'm scared," they stay quiet. Instead of saying, "I miss you," they distract themselves with work. Instead of saying, "I love you," they convince themselves that actions alone should be enough. From the outside, this silence can feel confusing. But inside, there may be an emotional storm that no one else can see. Imagine carrying a heart that longs for deep connection while also fearing the possibility of rejection. One part of you wants to move closer. Another part tells you to protect yourself. That inner conflict can create hesitation, mixed signals, and emotional distance. In many twin flame narratives, the divine masculine experiences this exact struggle. The soul recognizes a profound connection. The mind begins asking difficult questions. What if I'm not enough? What if I disappoint them? What if this relationship changes my entire life? What if I lose myself? These questions don't always come from a lack of love. Sometimes they come from the fear of losing something that feels incredibly precious. Ironically, the deeper the feelings become, the more intimidating they can seem. Love has the power to expose everything we've tried to hide, every insecurity, every childhood wound, every fear of abandonment, every belief that says, "I'm not worthy." This is why the twin flame connection is often described as a mirror. It reflects not only love but also the places within ourselves that still need healing. For the divine masculine, this reflection can be overwhelming. Instead of immediately embracing it, they may instinctively retreat, not because the connection is weak, but because it's stronger than anything they've experienced before. Many people assume that if someone truly loves you, they'll naturally know how to express it. Real life is often more complicated. Someone can care deeply and still struggle with communication. Someone can have sincere feelings while also carrying unresolved emotional patterns. Understanding this difference doesn't excuse unhealthy behavior, but it can help explain why emotional expression isn't always easy. The divine masculine may believe that love should be demonstrated through responsibility rather than conversation. They focus on building a career, creating financial stability, improving themselves, solving practical problems. In their mind, these actions may be expressions of love. They may think, if I can build a secure future, that's how I'll prove my feelings. Meanwhile, the divine feminine may simply want honesty, presence, and emotional openness. Neither perspective is inherently wrong. They're simply different languages of love. The challenge is learning to understand one another without expecting both people to communicate in exactly the same way. As healing begins, something beautiful starts to happen. The divine masculine slowly realizes that strength isn't the absence of emotion. Real strength is having the courage to speak honestly, to admit fear, to apologize when necessary, to express gratitude, to say, "I care about you," without feeling weak. This transformation rarely happens overnight. It often unfolds through life experiences, personal growth, and deep self-reflection. Little by little, the emotional walls begin to crack. The silence becomes conversation. The hesitation becomes trust. The fear becomes acceptance. And the love that once stayed hidden begins to find its voice. Perhaps the greatest lesson of all is this: love doesn't become more powerful because it's perfectly expressed. It becomes more powerful when two people are willing to grow beyond fear, communicate with authenticity, and meet each other with compassion. For the divine masculine, learning to express love isn't simply about finding the right words. It's about discovering that vulnerability isn't a weakness to avoid. It's the doorway to the deepest form of connection. Section 3. The divine masculine's silent love. What their actions often reveal there is a saying that actions speak louder than words. In many twin flame teachings, this idea is often associated with the divine masculine. While every person is unique, many believe the divine masculine tends to express love through what they do rather than through constant verbal reassurance. This can be difficult to understand, especially if your love language is words of affirmation or emotional conversation. You may find yourself waiting for a heartfelt message, a long phone call, or a clear confession of feelings. Instead, you receive silence, short replies, or periods of distance that leave you questioning everything. It's natural to wonder, if they truly care, why don't they just tell me? The answer, according to many spiritual perspectives, is that the divine masculine often believes love should be demonstrated rather than constantly spoken. They may think that providing stability, solving problems, protecting the people they care about, or working toward a better future are stronger expressions of love than saying the words themselves. To them, love is something to build, something to protect, something to prove through commitment and responsibility. This doesn't mean words are unimportant. Healthy relationships need honest communication. But understanding this difference in expression can help explain why their behavior sometimes feels confusing. Imagine a mountain. From a distance, it appears still and unmoving. But deep beneath the surface, enormous forces are shaping the earth. The divine masculine's emotional world is often described in a similar way. Just because you cannot see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. Sometimes the biggest transformations occur in silence. Many divine masculines begin changing their lives after encountering a profound soul connection. They become more disciplined. They work harder. They start pursuing goals they once ignored. They leave unhealthy habits behind. They become more aware of their emotional patterns. To outside observers, these changes may seem unrelated, but within the twin flame perspective, they are sometimes viewed as part of an inner awakening. The connection inspires growth, not because someone demanded it, but because love itself became a catalyst for transformation. There is an important distinction here. Growth should never be performed simply to earn another person's love. Real transformation is sustainable only when it comes from a genuine desire to become healthier, wiser, and more authentic. When personal growth is driven solely by fear of losing someone, it often creates pressure rather than healing. But when it comes from self-awareness, it becomes lasting. Another way the divine masculine may express love is through quiet acts of care. They may remember small details you've shared. They may check on your well-being in subtle ways. They may offer practical help when you least expect it. They may stand beside you during difficult moments, even if they struggle to explain what they're feeling. These gestures may seem simple, yet for someone who finds emotional expression challenging, they can carry profound meaning. Of course, actions alone are not enough. A healthy relationship requires consistency, mutual effort, respect, and open communication. No one should have to endlessly guess what another person feels. Love becomes strongest when meaningful actions are supported by honest words. As the divine masculine continues healing, many people believe a beautiful shift begins to occur. The gap between what they feel and what they express starts to close. They no longer rely only on silent acts of devotion. They begin speaking from the heart. They learn that saying, "I appreciate you," doesn't diminish their strength. Admitting fear doesn't make them weak. Sharing emotions doesn't mean losing control. Instead, vulnerability becomes another form of courage. Perhaps this is one of the greatest transformations on the twin flame journey. The divine masculine discovers that true love isn't only about protecting others. It's also about allowing yourself to be seen, without masks, without pride, without pretending to have all the answers, because real love isn't measured only by grand gestures or perfect words. It's revealed in the willingness to show up authentically, to grow through life's challenges, and to let both actions and words reflect the truth of the heart. And when those two finally come into harmony, love is no longer hidden in silence. It becomes something that can be felt, seen, and shared openly. If this message resonated with your heart, don't let it end here. The twin flame journey isn't just about understanding another soul, it's about understanding yourself. Remember, the divine masculine's unique way of loving isn't always expressed through words. It's often revealed through growth, healing, and the courage to face the deepest parts of themselves. At the same time, every healthy relationship requires mutual respect, honest communication, and a shared willingness to grow. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next spiritual message. I have another powerful video waiting for you that reveals the biggest signs the divine masculine is secretly awakening, and you don't want to miss it. Click on the video appearing on your screen now. Until next time, trust your journey, protect your peace, and remember, your greatest spiritual union begins within. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.